Alright, welcome to the night class. Today we are going over our chapter 5, which deals with trig, ratios, and the law of sines and the law of cosines and all that good stuff. So, beginning, number 1. What do we do to get the first answer? What do we need to do to get rid of tan? Inverse tan. So we say x is the inverse tan of the square root of 3. Put that in your calculator. I think red shows up better. And what do you get? 60? Everybody gets 60. You didn't get 60? You didn't get it because you didn't put it in, or you didn't get it because you put in the wrong thing?
I got 60.
60. All right. So x equals 60. Now, the directions say solve each equation if 0 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 360. So we have to find all the angles from 0 to 360 that would have a tangent of square root of 3. Okay? 60 is not the only one. So here's where your little thing I taught you, all star trig class, comes in handy. Remember, this tells you which trig ratios are what? Positive or negative? Positive. These are the ones that are positive. So all of them are positive in the first quadrant. Sine's positive in the second quadrant. Tangent's positive in the third quadrant. Cosine's positive in the fourth quadrant. Everybody with me so far? We just got which answer? Which quadrant? 60 is in the first quadrant. So that takes care of my first quadrant. Where else is tangent positive? So what would a 60-degree angle be in the third quadrant? 240 degrees. I took, how far is it from here to here? 180. And then I need to go how much further? 60 more degrees. If you went all the way, it'd be 240. I stopped at 180. Here or to here? 270 is this one down here. I stopped. I went to 180 and added 60 more degrees. Okay? All right? Everybody good on number 1? Same thing on number 2. Okay? X is the inverse cosine of positive 1/2. So, what does the calculator answer give us? 60 again. But this time, it's cosine. So is cosine positive? Yes. So where else is cosine positive? Fourth quadrant. So what is a 60-degree angle in the fourth quadrant? How far would it be to go all the way around to there? 300. 300 degrees. Because I have 60 more to go to get to 360, right? Is that making sense? Everybody good?
Wait. I'm a little lost, not gonna lie. So, whenever it's in the fourth quadrant, you subtract instead of...
Yeah, I was subtracting 360 minus 60.
Why did you subtract instead?
Because you're trying... Look, don't think of it as I got a formula I have to do, okay? If I just asked you, hey, there's a 60-degree angle right there. How far is it to get to there? Well, how far is the whole thing? I'm not going the whole way. I'm going all the way except for how much? So I subtract 60. Does that make sense? Same thing over here. On the first one, we went to 180, and then we didn't need to go back. We need to go further than 180. So what do we do with the 60? We added 60 to 180. Okay? It's much easier if you just remember, like, the common sense part of it. Okay? All right? Last one. Inverse sine of negative Square root of 2 over 2. What does that equal? Negative 45 degrees. Is negative 45 degrees in the range from 0 to 360? No. So what do we do to get it in the range? Add 360. So if you added that to 360, you get 315 degrees. Okay? Which quadrant is that? That is the fourth quadrant. So let me erase this over here so you can see a little better. All right, so fourth quadrant, right? 45 degrees, boom, okay? That's 315. Where else is the sign negative? It's positive in the first and second. So the third one, okay? So what kind of angle do I need to draw in this third one? 45 degrees. So a 45 degree angle in the third quadrant would be how much for the whole thing? How would I figure that out? I'm going halfway, which is how many? 180. How much further? 45. So what do I do with 180 and 45? Add them up. What do you get? 225 would be my other angle. Yes, ma'am.
So, what does the SAT stand for?
All-star trig class. That means all of them are positive in the first quadrant. Sine is positive in the second quadrant. Tangent is positive in the third quadrant. Cosine is positive in the fourth quadrant. So that's why when I said, where is sine negative? It's not in the first and second quadrant because that's where sine is what? Positive. It's got to be in the bottom two, third and fourth quadrant. Okay? So when I got negative 45 degrees, think about it. That negative just means it's going down, right? So right here, this is negative 45 degrees, but I don't want to know what the negative degree is. I want to know what the positive degree is. So that's why I added 360 to get the 315. Then I put a 45 degree angle in the third quadrant. And I figure out, okay, that's 180 plus 45 would be 225. Okay?
So when doing that, we don't use the 315, we use the 45, and then the 45 we got.
Correct, because it's just you're going the other direction. Okay? On the last test, they gave you angles and you had to find the reference angle, right? They're basically giving you the reference angle and you have to find the big angle. Okay? Now, remember, the reference angle is always between 0 and 90. And again, I know it says negative 45, but that's just telling you which way to turn. Okay? That means we're going clockwise 45 degrees. Okay? There's actually two extras that I want to go over with you. I think I can put them over here. If you noticed on the answer key on the back, I put up over there to the left says do sine of x equals 1 and tangent of x equals 0 as well. It's different when it's 1 and 0. Okay? So I'm going to find somewhere to put them, I don't know. Here, I'll just put it up here on my name. So sine of theta equals 1. And I put theta, it's x, though, isn't it? So this is an extra problem, extra review problem, okay? So stick it in your calculator like you always have. You will get what? Inverse sine of 1 is 90. Very good, okay? 90 degrees. Now, to check to make sure there's not another one, we have to think. Remember, when we get 1, 0, 90, okay? I said 1, 0, 90. That's not right. When we get 1 or 0, okay, or undefined, that means my angle is one of these four, right? It's either 0, 90, 180, or 270. Okay? So you have to think back to your You rock, excellent rock, you excellent. Thing. Okay? So if you remember, sine is y on the unit circle. Everybody remember that? Okay? So this is saying y has to be what? 1. Do you see any of the other points where y is 1? Is y 1 here? Is y 1 here? Yeah, that's why 90 is an answer. Is y 1 here? Is y 1 here? Negative 1 is not 1. Okay? So 90 is the only answer for that one. Okay? But if you do, say, tangent of x equals 0, plug that in, you get 0. Okay? Alright, you do the inverse tangent of 0, you get 0. Now, let's think about it. Tangent is the last one. It's the u excellent, right? So do you see any other points that would give you 0? Now, if this is equal to 0, what has to be 0? The top or the bottom? The top one has to be 0. So you're looking for where y is what? 0. Is y 0 here? Yep. That's why we got 0 degrees. Is y 0 here? Nope. Is y 0 here? Yes. So it's also what? 180 degrees. And notice the directions say less than or equal to 360. So if 0 works, what does 360 has to work? Because they're basically the same place. Okay? So this one actually has 3 angles from 0 to 360. Okay? All because we start at 0, go to 180, it's got 0, and then back to 360 we'll also have y to be 0. Okay? So those are a little more challenging when they're not just, a fraction. All right? Possibly. Depends on which test you get. If I had to guess, I'd probably say at least one of them would. I don't think I'd give you 2. All right?
There's more than one test with different problems.
There was more than one test last test. There's 3 different versions.
Is there going to be one that's easier?
No, they're all the same. Yeah, sure. All right.
It's my luck.
4. It's like you're going to take that hard ACT, because they're making some harder than others. All right. 4, 5, 6, and 7. On these problems, okay, people start trying to overthink them. What kind of triangle is this right here? It's a right triangle. So you are just doing your basic trig stuff that we learned at the beginning of the lesson. SOHCAHTOA, you rock, excellent rock, you excellent, however you want to think about it, okay? I'm going to use SOHCAHTOA. Why? It is easier, but why? What? Well, they gave me a picture, okay? Anytime I have a triangle, I'm probably doing SOHCAHTOA. All right, it just makes life easier. All right, we are solving each triangle described in the given the right triangle, or the triangle at right, excuse me. Round to the nearest tenth if necessary. So we have to find all the missing parts and plug them in. So, number 4, they give us 2 sides. So what do y'all want to find first? The third side, right? What am I missing? Leg or hypotenuse? A leg. So, B, I don't have a lot of room. Here. B will equal the square root of a squared, 21 squared, minus 30 squared. Is that right? No. Why is that not right? Very good. It should come what? First. The bigger number comes first. Excellent, Natalie. You're welcome. So, and again, I'm just doing the shortcut version of the Pythagorean theorem here, okay? Put that in your calculator. We don't have to worry about all that simplifying the radical because it said to round to the nearest tenth. You just stick it in your calculator and round. So, what is B? 21.4? 21.4. Beautiful. Okay? What do we do to find the angles? Do you have to find angle C? No. You know C is what? 90. All right, so if you write it down, it's okay, but you're not going to get points off if you don't write C down. because that little box right there.
Oh, I see.
And the directions say it's a, oh, it doesn't say it, does it? It just says triangle at the right. But anyway, I know it because that little box tells me so. Okay? All right, so if I wanted to get angle A, what would I do? What parts did they give me? They give me A right here, right? It's 21. And they gave me C. What parts are those? To A. 21 is opposite A, and 30 is the hypotenuse. So what uses opposite and hypotenuse? Sine. Yes, ma'am.
So when it says to solve this triangle, what do you have to do to get it?
You find everything that's not there.
So you have to find sine.
No. When I say everything, I mean all three angles, all three sides. They gave me two sides and one angle here. And I say one angle because I know it's a 90 degrees. C. Okay? So I have to find the other missing parts.
Wait, I have a question.
Yes.
I know this is cheating, maybe, possibly, yes. I'm just gonna ask this. So, like, you know how in problem 3 it says A equals 35? Is it not gonna be the same for all of them? So you can't just plug in the answers that they gave you within the other problems? Like, okay, so A equals.
Oh,
we're
no,
using the same
no,
triangle.
no, no.
Okay, that's because we're using the same triangle.
Correct, but that's not the same triangle for each one because we're changing the dimensions of it.
Okay.
You'll see. And when we do this problem, we're not going to get 35 for A. Okay, well, it may be close, but it's not going to be 35. Okay, good question, though. All right, so we're going to have sine of A equals, opposite is 21 over 30 is the hypotenuse. How do we get A? Do the inverse sine of 21 over 30. What does that equal? What that you say? 44.4? That's exactly right. Everybody good? Okay. For B, what can we just do for B? That minus 90. Actually, it's 90 minus that. So what would that be? 50, no, 45.6? Is that right? 45.6 degrees is B. Yes.
On number 12, how much work? 12 answer. How much work do we have to show?
Just show that you're what you're plugging in.
You don't have to show.
Like if you're looking for the angle, you got to show some work. But if you're just looking for the side to start off with, this
You're
one,
looking for the
this one there ain't gonna be much. Like you just plugging into the formula and going.
But for 12, we need to do
12, it'd be a little more work to show on that one. Yeah. Yes, ma'am, Jenny. Because that's how you get rid of sine. Yes, ma'am. And I did it on both sides. I just didn't write it on the left. To get rid of sine, okay, you have to do the inverse of sine. The inverse of sine cancels the sine out. And I'm left with what? A. That's my goal. I'm trying to find A. But if I do that on the left, that means I have to do it where? On the right. So that's why it's over there. I just didn't write it on the left. Okay?
You couldn't just use 90 minus 44.4.
Like that?
Oh, my bad. I was looking up topic for trig stuff. I was like, you have a
How many
90
degrees are there in a triangle? 180. So how much is there? 90. So these two have to add up to what? 90. Okay. A and B have to add up to 90. Not as bad as maths.
I was just making sure because you know sometimes you don't want us to do stuff.
I got you.
With the work that
Right.
we found.
Right. That's okay on this test because some of these problems you're going to have to. All right. Number 5. I'm going to erase. What is angle C? 90 degrees. Right. Remember I told you, you can write that down if you want to, but you don't have to. Yes. yeah, if you write it, it's okay. You know, some people, they just feel bad for leaving it out. But the letters in certain places. As long as you're telling me what they are, you're good. All right? All right, number 5. Sorry, I have to erase my work to have room to do it. Number 5. We know B equals 8. We know angle A is 35 degrees. And we have to find all the other parts. So what do you think I'm going to find first? I'm going to find angle B first. Again, just because I start off with the easy stuff. Okay? So B is just going to be 90 minus 35, which is 55 degrees. Okay? Now we need, what else do we need to find? A and C. So if I'm looking for A first, we'll just go in alphabetical order. A is what to 35? Opposite. 8 is what to 35? Adjacent. What uses opposite and adjacent? Tangent. So I'm going to say tangent of 35 degrees equals A over 8. And do what to both sides? Not subtract. Multiply by 8. That should give you 5.6. And then to get C, B is 8. Again, it's the adjacent. C is the what? Hypotenuse. So now, which one are we going to be using? Adjacent and hypotenuse? Cosine. So cosine of 35 equals 8 over C. Many of you got this mixed up on the mid-test. Okay, don't make the same mistake twice. We are not multiplying both sides by 8 here because where is my C? It's at the bottom. So I do what with these two things? I switch them. Okay, C equals 8 divided by cosine of 35. And you stick that in your calculator. You should get 9.8. Okay? Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am, because there's not any there. If you want to put something, you can always put units. If they don't ever tell you the units, you can always write down units, but I'm not going to require you to do that. Okay? Good question. Everybody ready for 6? 6 and 7 are just like what we just did, except we don't have to solve the whole triangle. We just have to find one thing, which is good. Right? That makes it quicker. So, you get. Can I erase what's up here, right here? Okay. I just want to be able to label my triangle here. All right, B is 42 degrees, and C is 15, and we're looking for side B there. Again, I just want to get that written down.
When we get to them, can we do it just 180 minus those two?
Uh-oh. Yeah.
Well, this is a feather from her little bell. Ready?
Why does it go anywhere?
All right, everybody good?
He doesn't.
Let me erase. All right. How are we going to find B? What trig function would we use there? or Trick's ratio, I should say. Sine. Opposite side, hypotenuse. So sine of 42 degrees equals b over 15. What do I do to both sides?
Bad. Multiply 15.
Multiply by 15 on both sides. Those will cancel. And you should get your b. If you plug that in, it's good old 10. 10! 10! Alright. We're done, because like I said, we just had to find b. Same thing on number 7. This time it says a is 38 degrees. And little a, side a is 24. And we're got to find the hypotenuse. So what are we using on that one? Sine, same thing. How about that? Alright, so sine of 38, your teacher really should have gave you, some variety here, but he didn't. What's sine of 38 equal to? 24 over c. So my variable is on the bottom. So we swap them, right? Okay. C will equal 24 divided by sine of 38. And if you put that in your calculator, 38.98, something like that, which rounds to 39. All right. Any questions? Everybody good?
39 is the answer?
39 is the answer. Everything we just did there was pretty much on the mid-test. Okay, so about halfway through this test, that's what you've done all that before. Okay, so from 8 on is the new stuff. A lot of sines, a lot of cosines, and your area formulas. All right. Everybody ready? Okay. So, law of sines. It is important that you remember what it is. A over sine A equals B over sine B equals C over sine C. And can you write them reversed? Can you write them reciprocals?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So, it says solve each triangle, so we're finding all the missing parts, okay? Please remember, starting with number 8 through the rest of the test, are these necessarily right triangles? No. Okay? They are not right triangles unless they tell you it's a right triangle. Everybody good? All right, so for number 8, what variable do you think I'm finding first? Angle C. That is correct. Okay? Angle C is 180 minus the 2 angles they gave us. So 40 minus 59. Angle C is 81 degrees. Is that right? All right. So 81 degrees. Now, because remember, in order to do law of sines, you have to have a side and an angle that are the same. And what do I mean by that? I mean, this side's A, angle A. Or side B, angle B. Or side C and angle C. You got to have a couple, okay? A pair. All right? Do we have a pair here now?
Yes.
Yes, we have side C and we have angle C. Okay? Sorry, my highlighters aren't supposed to cover it up so much where you can't see it, huh? I'll put it back. All right, so we are going to have, I'll just look for little a first. A over the sine of, what was angle A? 40 equals, what do we know? C is 14 over the sine of angle C is 81. Okay? And we literally take sine of 40 and put it where? Over here next to the 14, and we say 14 times sine of 40 divided by sine of 81. Okay? 14 sine of 40 divided by the sine of 81 degrees. 9.1 is correct. I think we did this problem on our homework because these numbers are looking really familiar. All right. Did we do anything different to find little b?
No.
Only one thing. We plug in the b stuff. Okay? So this time is going to be b over the sine of not 40 because angle b is not 40. What's angle b? 59 equals 14 over the sine of 81. Okay? Same process. Sine of 59 goes over there. B will be 14 sine of 59 over the sine of 81. That is should be 12.1.
What'd you get?
12.1. And I beg of you, please put it in your calculator to make sure you're putting it in correctly. Okay? Because you can miss a sign or a parentheses or lots of things that would make you miss it. Okay?
It's fine. It's fine. It's just a tape.
It's like 50 bucks.
Yeah.
So this time she put like $5.
What?
Yeah, well, I just almost ruined it.
Everybody good?
$8 on the ground.
All right.
She's worried about our textbook.
Everybody got 8? Number 9.
So that's it.
That's it. We found all the missing parts. So number 9 is basically same problem, different numbers. What are we going to find first? I will find angle C first. So C is going to be 180 minus 27.3 minus 55.9. I'll need y'all's help on that. Actually, I don't. I have the answers up here. You should get 96.8 degrees. Okay? Now, which two letters do we have that's the same? A. We have little a and angle A. Side A and angle A. Okay? So that's going to be what we set everything equal to. All right? So to find little b, like that could be my rapper name. Little b. Anyway, little b, what up? All right. Over the sine of big B. See, big B could be my dad. But his name was George, so that doesn't really work.
It could be big G.
His would be Big G. Man.
And those your initials are Burger King?
Yes, I do. Thank you. Or British Knights, which I know y'all are too old to know what British Knights are. There used to be this hip, cool shoes. You know, you weren't cool unless you were wearing BKs. But anyway, of course, I had to have a pair
You said
because.
we're too old.
Did I say too old?
I think
I meant too young. I'm too old.
I was saying you're too old.
Hush. All right. Sine B over the sine of 55.9 degrees equals. We'll find C. No, not find it. C. We know A. A is what? 8.6 over the sine of big A. That doesn't sound right. And what do I do with the sine of 59.8? 59.9. 55.9. I can't talk today. What do I do with this? It comes right there. So B equals 8.6 times the sine of 55.9 degrees over the sine of 27.3 degrees. And that will give you little b. You should get, according to my calculations, 15.5. I am having tutoring today.
See, I just don't. I can't concentrate because I'll be here tutoring after school after 3, but I'm just babysitting after work. But I get out at 11, so I'm not tutoring in the middle of the day. Do you tutor before school ever?
Got too many kids to get to school.
Can I get some water?
Sure. All right. What do we do to get little c?
C.
Isn't it c? Yeah. So, look, I'm just going to erase my work here and just change the numbers here because it's really the same thing. So, I'm going to replace that with, we're going to have little c over the sine of big C was 96.8. And again, I move that over here. For C, you should get 18.6. All right. There's my answers. Just so you know, your real tests, I will have room for you to work them on the test. No problem. Like, it's spread out. It's a front and back. Same number of questions, but I just halved it up. Like 10, 11, and 12, all the rest of them will be on the back. All right? You will have room to work them on the test, not like what we're doing here. Sorry. Everybody good?
So that was little C, and the other one was big C, right?
Yeah, we found big C first.
Hard to tell.
Angle C. Just remember the big C is the one that has the degree symbol on it.
Okay.
Okay? It's the angle.
Or I could just write angle.
Or you could just put the little angle sign symbol for
That's what I
from
did.
geometry
It's hard
too.
to tell. I thought it was little C first, and then I realized.
No, it was angle C. All right. Got it there, Lefty? Do you do anything besides write with your left hand?
Everything.
Except sports? That's crazy.
Wait, why did you not? Why did you not?
Yeah, I was.
Like,
I
don't
bet
put
your
people
parents
don't
are
let
not
them in
letting you
pictures.
go to sports lessons. It's not very appreciative.
All right. Number 10. Find the area of each triangle. So, how many angles did they give me here? 1. When they give you just one angle, that's the one where you're using K equals 1/2. The two sides times each other, which in this case, what's my two sides? 14 and 12, B and C. So 1/2 B times C times the sine of what? A, the angle they give you. Okay? And again, those letters can change, but the pattern does not. It's always 1/2 the two sides they give you times the sine of the angle they gave you. Okay? The only work you have to show me is that you plugged in 14 times 12 times the sine of 78 degrees. From there, you just let your fingers take over punching it in the calculator. Okay? That is 82.2. Okay? 11's a little different because it gave me how many angles? 2 angles. If they give you 2, they might as well have given you what? All 3 of them. So first I'm going to find my third angle. Okay, so that's going to be 180 minus 22 minus 105. So what's angle C? 180 minus 127. Is that 53? Is that right? 53 degrees. Okay? Here's the formula. What's the formula when they just give you one side and all the angles? 1/2. What do you do to the side? You square it. There's nothing to multiply it by, so you square it. Okay? In this case, I put A. It's not A. What's the side they gave us? B. So 1/2 b squared. And then you do all three angles. Sine, sine, and sine. Two of them are multiplying, one of them are dividing. Which one is the one that's dividing?
B.
Which side do we have? B. So that's the sign that goes on the bottom. Okay, sine of B. So on top you have sine A, sine C. Okay? It's a little more complicated formula. Make sure you know them.
Very
Okay, so you take whatever side they give you and square it. So it's 1/2 the side squared. And then you're going to have all three sine of all three angles. Okay? You just got to remember which two go on top and which one goes on bottom. The easiest way to remember is whatever letter you had side, that's the angle that goes on the bottom. Correct. If that was A, there would be sine A on the bottom. If the side was C, you'd have sine C on the bottom. Okay? And then the other two are always the other ones on top. Okay? So it's just plugging in now. So we have K is 1/2 times 14 squared times the sine of 22, sine of 53, over the sine of 105. And I should have put degree signs on those. When you're putting them in your calculator, you don't have to put the degree sign unless they say degrees in minutes. Okay? It's just degrees, and just make sure your mode's in degrees, and you should be good. That should be 30.4. Okay. It's all in how you're putting it in. Don't put that last bit in yet. Divide by sine of, what was it, 105? See, this is why I have to do it. 14 squared. Sine of 22. Close parentheses. Sine of 53. You put 50. There it is. Divide by 2. Divide by sine of 105. Yeah. You had 50 instead of 53. Okay? Just be careful when you're plugging in your calculator.
What would I plug in to make me 0.10 off?
I'm not sure what you did. Why'd you multiply by 98?
14 squared divided by 2.
Sine 53. All right. Number 12. We're using our law of cosines, okay? Again, one more thing to remember. What does the law of cosines look like?
B squared has
It's similar to the Pythagorean theorem with a few extra things, okay? So, here we go. For 12, when they give you all the sides, does it matter which angle you find first? It does not. You have options. Okay, remember this is the one that's going to take a little longer. So, I'm going to come over here. We're going to say 12's right here. So, that is your law of cosines. Again, it looks very similar to the Pythagorean theorem, minus 2bc cosine A. Okay? Make sure that you're doing law of cosines, you put cosine. Okay? Because we write down sine an awful lot when we're doing law of sines. So, what is A? So 32 squared equals B is 38 squared plus C is 46 squared minus 2 times 38 times 46 times the cosine of A. What is 32 squared? I don't have this written down, so I'll need y'all to tell me. 1024. Remember, you can't put all of this in your calculator, so you have to break it up into parts. What's 38 squared plus 46 squared? 3560 minus, what's 2 times 38 times 46? How much? 3490? 3496. And then bring down your cosine of A. All right, God bless you. What do we do with the 3560? Subtract it over. This is what your homework was on last night. So if you didn't do it, here's where you can find help. What does that equal? Negative 2536 equals negative 3496 cosine of A. Divide by negative 3496. And how do I get rid of the cosine? Inverse cosine. So I'm taking the inverse cosine of this. They're both negative, so I'm going to take those negatives off. I don't need them. Two negatives divided by each other equal a positive. That will be A. That should equal, if you put it in your calculator correctly, 43.5 degrees.
What is it?
43.5 degrees. Everybody good with A? Alright, now that we know A, and we have side A, what can we use? Law of sines, okay? Or you can go through all this again and get B and C, but it's quicker to do law of sines. So I'm going to say, let's find angle B first. Now, since we're finding the angle, I'm going to write the angle where? On the top. So instead of putting B over sine of B, I'm going to say sine of B over little b. Okay? Which, what is little b? 38 equals, we know now, A. So sine of 43.5 degrees divided by little a is 32. What do we do with this 38? It moves over. And how do we get rid of sine? Inverse. So B will be the inverse sine, and these are the ones where you really got to be careful because it's a lot to type in your calculator. Inverse sine of 38, sine of 43.5 degrees divided by 32. And if you put all that in your calculator, you get, drum roll, hopefully, 54.8 degrees. If you didn't get that when you put it in your calculator, check and make sure after this 43.5 that you close your parentheses, okay, before you divide by your 32. That is where a lot of people mess up putting it in their calculator. What do you do to get C? You do 180 minus your two answers here. So 180 minus 43.5 minus 54.8. .7 degrees. Okay? get it, Paris? Again, I told you yesterday, I like checking to make sure I'm not wrong. I'm not really checking to make sure I'm right when I do what I'm about to do. But if 81 is the biggest angle, right? Angle C, which side should be the biggest side? Side C. Is side C the biggest side? Yes. Okay. If angle A is the smallest angle, what side should be the shortest side? Not everybody at once. A. There you go. Is A the shortest side? Yes. So that doesn't tell me that I'm right. It just tells me that I possibly could be right. Okay. If that wasn't true, then I would know I was wrong. You know, is that making sense? Okay. Everybody good on 12?
On the test, if we're off like a 10.
If you're off a 10th on the test, we're good. Okay. Remember, on the test, I'm looking at your work. So as long as a lot of times I give you credit for stuff when you put the wrong answer just because your work's right. Okay. And then for some reason your fingers didn't work when you were plugging it in. So, yeah.
I don't have any work.
And sometimes you don't have any work and just don't get nothing. Anyway. All right. Let me do some erasing here.
We have like 3 minutes.
I know. We got to hurry.
Just look, number 13, go to 14.
But 14 and 15 are the easiest.
Oh man, this is gonna be bad.
Well, I'm gonna stay above the line and say, I'm gonna do good this year.
Cause I cannot miss this.
All right, number 13. 13 is not near as long, thank goodness.
No, I already took it.
Because they didn't give us a choice. What do we have to find first? Which letter do we have to find first?
C.
C. Because they gave me angle C. Okay? So I have to find C squared first. So C squared will equal A squared, which is 25, plus B squared, which is 30, minus 2 times 25 times 30, times the cosine of 160 degrees. What do you do to get C there? Take the what? Take the square root. So, side C will be the square root of all that, which you should get 54.2. Y'all pay attention. We're almost done. Okay? Now that we know little c and angle c,
I'm fixing to ring the bell, and you will be going to second block. So as soon as the bell rings, report to second block.
Second block.
alright, so now that we have side C and angle C, we can use the law of sines to find angle A and angle B. So I'm going to find angle A first. So I'm going to say the sine of A over side A is 25 equals the sine of the angle we know, 160 over 54.2. Again, angle C, side C, we know both. I move the 25 over here and take the inverse sine. So, inverse sine of 25 times the sine of 160 divided by 54.2. That will equal, if you put all that in your calculator correctly, you should get 9.1 degrees. And then to get the last angle, you just subtract the 2 that you have minus 1, or 180 minus the 2 that you have. So 180 minus 9.1 minus 160. That will be 10.9. So angle C is, or excuse me, angle B is 10.9 degrees. Okay? All right. So the last two, you were just finding area. Again, anybody remember the name of this formula that uses all the sides?
Heroes formula.
Heroes formula, okay? Think of the G.I. Joe, real American hero, okay? So, Heroes formula, you first have to find this thing called S, and what was S?
It's 1/2 times A plus B plus C.
Half of the perimeter, in short, okay? All right, so find S first. 1/2 A plus B plus C, okay? And then to get the formula, K is the square root of S times S minus A times S minus B times S minus C. All of that, okay? So first I'm going to find S. S equals 1/2. 2 plus 7 plus 8. That is 8.5. So K will be the square root of 8.5S, okay, times S minus 5, or excuse me, S minus A, which is 8.5 minus 2, times 8.5 minus 7, S minus B, times S minus C, which is 8.5 minus 8. That is all the work you have to show that you plugged it in, and then the calculator does the rest. You should get 6.4, and it is area, so it would be units squared. And for my last problem, let me do some erasing so I have some room to write it. S, come on. S equals 1/2 25 plus 13 plus 17. That is, what's that, 30 plus 25, 55, is that right? Half of 55? Half of 55 is 22.5, is that right? Sounds right. 27.5, 22.5 ain't even 50.
Oh, yeah.
Now that I think about it. You talked me into it, though. 27.5. All right. So area will be the square root of 27.5 times 27.5 minus 25 times 27.5 minus 13 times 27.5 minus 17. And if you put all that in your calculator, you get 102.3 for your area. All right. That's the lesson, the review. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time, and stay above the line.